Hi, this is Steve with HomeStrung Jewelry, and today I'm going to show you how to turn this simple rectangular stone into a beautiful wire pendant. Now this is a stone that you could find at just about any bead shop. It's drilled top to bottom. It's rectangular. This particular one is 1 inch by 1 3/8 or 25 millimeters by 35 millimeters. And it presents an interesting problem because normally this is something that would just be put on a strand and turned into a necklace or bracelet. But with the help of a little bit of wire, some wire wrapping, we're going to turn this into a pendant. We're also going to be using just some like leftover beads. This is part of a kit that Debbie put together for this particular project. And it just involves using a lot of little tiny beads. The biggest thing in here I think is 4 millimeters, which we'll use to cap each end. But it's a simple project showing people how they could turn a simple strand bead into a beautiful pendant. And this is also a great project for using up leftover beads. Seed beads work really well for this. 8/0, 11/0, whatever will fit on the wire. And we're also just going to use some regular wire here, but you could use craft wire as well. You could use 20 gauge if you can get the beads to fit on it. We have some kind of small beads today, so I'm just using 22 gauge. And this is just copper wire, but there's no reason you couldn't use just about any enameled wire. Tools that we're going to need are pretty simple. We're just going to need some flush cutters, chain nose pliers, round nose pliers. I may bring my flat nose in just to help a little bit. We might need a ruler to measure the wire, but I've already measured the wire here, and we're going to start out with 15 inches of this copper wire. Of course, if you've got a larger bead or a smaller bead, or if you're getting a little fancy and want to put some additional little enhancements on the front, play with the wire a little bit, you might want more, or you might be able to get along with less. But the first thing I do whenever I have, just a natural wire is I'm going to clean it. And this also helps straighten the wire out a little bit. And I use steel wool for this. Now, of course, if you got an enameled wire, you don't want to do this because it will remove the finish off of the wire. It'll scratch it up, which will expose it to the air. And your nice enameled wire, which will keep its color just about forever, will begin to oxidize. This is a natural copper wire, so it's going to be oxidizing anyway, and already is, which is why we're going to use the steel wool to take that off. Okay, we're going to start. Let me move my beads out of the way. We're going to start by turning this long piece of wire into an extra long head pin. We're going to put a closed spiral on the end of this wire. And the way we're going to do that is by grabbing the end of the wire with our round nose pliers and just forming a loop. Just bring it around until it touches. Now, I've got some pretty big round nose pliers here, so that's going to be a big loop. And you could just go ahead and make your closed spiral right from this, but I like to clean it up a little bit. This is completely optional. And so I'm going to take my flush cutters and I'm going to cut that little straight piece that's there at the end, and I'm going to cut it at a little bit of an angle so that you can see how that's cut a little bit of an angle so it fits into, when it forms the coil, it will fit in a little tighter and make it just a little bit rounder. It's not something you have to do, but it's something I like to do just because it gives you a little bit better finish. And I'm going to bring it, and again, all of this is just optional. You could just immediately start to form your spiral. But I'm going to take this, and I want a smaller hole. And so I'm going to take the wire, and I'm going to squeeze it in and shrink the size of the opening there. Now I take the chain nose pliers, or you could use flat nose pliers, and we're just going to begin to wrap the wire around itself to make a coil. And you know, you don't need to make great big movements. I usually just sit here and just grab it, twist it in, and you can see a coil is starting to form. Just a little bit at a time. One little secret, if you keep it out here, you're going to have to press harder. If you keep it down here, leverage is working for you. And you can just keep coiling away. You don't have to press as hard. You can see I'm just doing this by little tiny bits, just 1/16 of an inch of the wire at a time. And I'm going to coil this till it's just a little bit bigger than 1/4 of an inch. And I kind of like it where it's equidistant all the way around the coil, which means I'd like to finish this coil right where we started. And you can see there's the beginning. So there we go. That's a little over 1/4 of an inch. Of course, if you have a smaller stone, you can make a smaller coil. Bigger stone, you can make it bigger. I'm going to take my chain nose pliers and grab it right there where we finished, and I'm going to break the neck. So you can see we've got like a little lollipop there. And that's going to be at the bottom of our pendant. Now inside our little tray here, Debbie's given us a selection of beads, and I'm going to pick one out to go down at the bottom of our stone. This is just a little piece of gold stone. Bring it down to the end, right there where the coil is, and we're going to insert it into the stone. Now this is a two-sided stone, so we can look at it and decide which side we want to show. And I think we'll have this as our front. We're going to thread it through and pull it up. And then we're going to thread another 4mm round on top. Bring that down to the top. Okay, it doesn't really matter too much if we keep this facing forward or not, because it's wire, we can bend it. But what we're going to do now is we're going to take our round nose pliers and we're going to put a wrapped loop at the top, which will become our bell. And I don't want to make a lot of wraps, so I'm going to hold this fairly close, pull it tight, and fold it over. Now I do want a bigger loop for my bell, and so I'm going to push up on the pliers a little bit, up where the bend is, and we're going to bring this wire up, form a loop around the pliers, reposition them, and then bring it around so that it comes out perpendicular to where it came out of at the beginning of the loop, where it came out of the stone. You can see we've got our loop there. I'm going to take my chain nose pliers and we're going to make just a couple of loops, or a couple of wraps, excuse me, wrapping from the loop back towards the pendant. And you can do 1, 2, 3, whatever it takes to fill up the space there. Looks like we've got like one and a half loops. Now we're not going to cut it. What we're going to do next is we're going to bring that wire around that top bead and wrap it around the bottom of the bead. We're going to pull it tight, bring the wire around to the back, pull that tight. We'll even everything up later, and you can see here in the back how it comes down. Now I'm going to bring it down across the back of the stone. I'm going to hold it with my thumb back there and bring the wire across the front of the stone at a little bit of an angle. Okay, and here's where we're going to get in and we're going to play with the little beads. And just depending on the size of your beads, you can put anywhere from 4 or 5, 6 beads up to as many as 9 or 10. These are pretty good size beads. And so we're going to put maybe just like 6 beads here on the front. So just a little crystal bead, maybe a bigger one. This is a fauceted round. Got a little half-plated, tiny crystal. That's 3. We've got some things over in this other tray as well, but I think here for the top, we're just going to keep it simple. I've got a little pearl. Now with these glass pearls, sometimes when they dye the pearls, when they treat them, they cover up the hole a little bit. You might need a little wire or something to punch through that and release it. Okay, we got another kind of an AB finish crystal. What have we got? We got 5 beads there. Let's find something small. Wow, that's not small at all. There's 6 beads. We'll start with that. We bring those down. We put them on the front of this pendant bead, and I'm going to pull this somewhat tight, keeping the angle, and then wrapping it more or less straight across the back. We're going to bring another wrap across the front of the bead again, our pendant stone. And then we're going to add a couple more beads here. Like I said, this is a great project for using up those little bits and pieces of beads that you might have. Let's pull some things out that I want to play with. We got these great Ethiopian copper beads over here. Let's get a little color. And then a couple of tiny ones. So let's put these on the end. Those copper beads are pretty amazing looking. They came from our African bead vendor. He was an amazing guy. He just travels around the country. He doesn't have a website, has a flip phone. He just travels around in his little van that is just stacked from floor to ceiling with African trade beads and different beads from various countries and provinces in Africa. Okay, there's our next set of beads. Hopefully I don't have too many. And again, we're going to hold those. Just hold them with the thumb and wrap that around the back of our pendant stone again, and then we're going to come back up to the front. I'm lining them up a little bit, but that's not too important because we can fix it all later. And so here we need just a few more beads. I'm going to pull them out of the tray so I know what I'm going to be using. And I've got these great looking little droplets. What have we got? 1, 2, 3, 6, 7. I think that's more than we probably can even handle. In fact, that might be too much. Let's get rid of one. Then we'll go down here and get these on. You're welcome to use glass, crystal, gemstones, like I said, seed beads. I've never done it with these little drops before, but Debbie threw them in the kit, so we're going to take advantage of that today. We'll bring those down there. And now we're going to wrap this back to the back again. And this time we're going to come up and we're going to do one wrap around that bottom stone that we started with. And that just kind of locks everything into place. All right, now you need to take your chain nose pliers and we get to play. Now we've got enough wire here on the end, we might be able to do something with that as well. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab the wire in a couple of places, and be careful here. You don't want to crack any of the crystals, but I'm going to hold the wire with the chain nose pliers, and I'm just going to do a twist. So you see we got a little jag there. And I'm going to grab it again here, push things tight. And we'll do another little twist right there. Just for the fun of it, if I can get a hold of this, we'll put one little twist there at the beginning, and we'll put one one up the other way here at the end. So just keep going along and playing with your wire. This does a couple of things. One, it's going to lock your beads into place, but it also tightens this wire so that it's not going to go anywhere. And let's do the same thing down here on the bottom one. We've kind of got a motif going here, So let's go down there. Let's come over past our drop. And we'll make a little twist. Bring our drop so that it faces down. And give us a little space. And we'll make a twist there. And there we've created a pattern across the front. This one needs a little more of a twist, I think. There we have our pendant bead. Straighten up our bell a little bit. Our closed loop at the bottom. Stick a leather cord or a cloth cord or even a chain through the bell at the top and you're all finished. But we've got quite a bit of We've got quite a bit of wire sitting here at the end. So let's do something with it. That's more than I probably need, so I'm going to cut that off. And who knows, I probably did more than I should have or less, we'll find out. And we'll just make another closed spiral. I'm going to trim that little flat section out. And we'll start coiling this up. Once you practice the coiling, doing the closed loops and that, you can go pretty fast. A little bit more. And we're going to bring that around to the front. Oh, I should have put a bead on it. We'll just put a little coil right there. And there you've got it. We're done. A pendant using just a bead from a strand, some wire, and a few leftover tiny beads. Now, if you enjoyed this video, we would appreciate it if you'd click the like button and go ahead and hit the subscribe as well. And when you subscribe, if you hit the bell, then you'll be notified of any future videos which come down the pike from us. We appreciate you making any comments down below or any questions you might have. We do have this pattern available on our website, and if you'd like to know more, just let us know. Thank you, and we'll look forward to seeing you again soon.